Welcome, everyone. My name is Patri Derek Pan. I am the CEO and founder of Khmerican, and you're currently watching our fifth broadcast of Khmerican TV. Today, we have the special honor of inviting Andrew Mam from Los Angeles. Welcome, Andrew. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. Doing really good.
Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to sit with us and share a little bit about your story and what are you up to. So Andrew, tell us who are you? Like, what is it that you do?
So my name is Andrew Mam. I am currently in Los Angeles, California, as a professional artist, working as a dancer, content creator, and I come originally from the Bay Area. And I have like a long history of kind of bouncing around different places in the world, but primarily I'm from the Bay Area. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a guy who takes his artistic legacy very seriously in the sense of coming from Cambodia, or coming as a Cambodian American seeking identity and reaching back through an age long past me, having been born here inside Mountain View, California, and taking back to the Cambodian legacy of the great artists that came about in our country from the 60s, 50s, 70s, but even things that preceded then before the recorded era of information, and being able to translate that and take that into my life here in the United States. And that's something that I think is something really key about where I come from as an artist and how I'm trying to translate that inside America as a professional working artist in 2016, which is a very different landscape.
I see. Who are your current affiliations right now? You mentioned yourself as an artist, as a dancer. Who are you affiliated with right now?
So my original crew from San Jose is called Hybrid Crew. Shout out to those guys. And right now, while I still am with them, I'm professionally and I guess familiarly working with a crew called Style Elements Crew, which is a long-standing legacy from the 1990s, one of the top crews, b-boy crews and dance innovators inside the game since the 1990s. Yes. And I am part of their new gen, part of the new flame that's keeping about that legacy of that name as well. Right. And as a dancer, I'm signed with Go-To Talent Agency, and they, good people helping me out, get some more gigs out here in LA.
Style Elements. I remember when I was an undergrad at the University of Washington, and my roommates and I, we drove all the way from Seattle to Anaheim for B-Boy Summit.
Oh, nice.
This was circa 99, I think. Dope. And I've heard of Style Elements then. And I remember, we had a big Seattle following of dancers, Massive Monkeys. I'm sure you're familiar with them. They had a few Cambodians. They had a few Cambodians in their crew, but I'm not sure how far Style Elements went that year. But I remember Massive won that year, and it sort of propelled its name, the organization's name, in the B-Boys community. So it's amazing that you're affiliated with this group that I still remember, 15 years ago. And I did my research, and they seem well represented and definitely an influence and trendsetter in the dancing, breakdancing scene.
Yeah, we actually went to Seattle a couple years ago for Massive Monkeys Day. We brought ourselves out. It was a crew on crew battle. So what was great about it is that it's about 7+ people, 7 to 10. So you get to see an entire group's diversity shine if they have that. And what was great about that is that we went there that year, we battled, we won. But also for Massive Monkeys, they were watching Style Elements as kids. They were the ones who were on their VHS tapes. So at the same time, they also honored Style Elements with a honorary Massive Monkey Day Appreciation Award for their influence on the scene, but primarily for their influence on the city of Seattle. And it was really beautiful, man. It was like a full circle thing because I remember talking to the Massive Monkey guys after, and they were just like, man, there's watching my heroes, battle, but today in the present, and it was a really cool thing to be a part of that. Right.
Yeah. The Massive Monkeys have done a lot here for the community in Seattle, and it's very empowering what their craft and their influence has made an impact on the city, but on the region, but on the craft itself. So we definitely at Khmerican, we definitely want to identify artists and individuals like yourself who represents organization that does a lot of positive and does good for the community.
Yeah.
share us a little bit, Andrew, of how you got your name, A Game, and just your evolution in b-boying.
Yeah. So I remember I was looking for a name for a long time. I think every kid looks for like that name, you know. Some guy tried to name me Andy Longlegs.
Andy Longlegs. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
5'10". Pretty tall.
And I have like lanky legs. I have super long arms, short torso. But yeah, no, that name didn't stick. I didn't really like that name. Yeah, and then I tried Illa for a while. I tried to name myself Izon, Izon. I thought that was pretty cool, but I just didn't want to take a name that I gave myself, you know, because like the tradition is to be given it by your elder. And it was at a time in high school when I was doing a lot. I rarely went home during high school. It was a little bit tough to go home at that time, so I always stayed out doing stuff. So I was in student government. I was ASB president at the time, class president before. I was dancing. I was emceeing. I was rapping at a band. We had a hip hop, jazz, funk fusion band. I was acting. I was hosting events at the school. So I was just doing a lot of stuff, you know. And then eventually one day I performed. I was with my band. We performed at a b-boy jam. And then we went to our friend's birthday party after, and elder of ours, his name is Nick. He was like, "Yo, I know you've been looking for a name, kid. I got you. Your name's A Game, because you always bring your A game to everything." And I was like, "What? That's perfect," you know? And I was just waiting for that because it just kind of applied to so many things inside my life at that time. So I finally was happy to have gotten the name, and it stuck with me, and I just, you know, live with it. And what's great about it is that it has, you know, I mean, it's interesting to talk about the name, right, as it represents you. Like, is anybody ever really on their A game all the time? I don't think so, you know? Like, they might look like it, maybe. It's a perceptive marketing branding thing. But truly, I mean, we all fall. I mean, it's an up and down thing. But the thing that's been great about it is that it's more of like, it's like a tattoo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a reminder each day that if someone calls me that, I'm like, oh, am I doing my best right now? Because it's like about how your performance in the different fields that you're in reflects, you know, and you're doing well. So each time I hear it or each time I see it, it's kind of like a subconscious reminder of like, hey, if you're not doing as well as you could be, you know, keep pushing.
Right. It keeps you in check. It keeps you in check, and it keeps you modest and hungry, and it keeps you focused on what you're passionate about. So
yeah, totally, man. Yeah.
What does it stand for? I understand that it does have multiple meanings in terms of the acronym.
Yeah. So the main acronym it stands for is As Great As Me, which is talking about the idea of, as an artist, there is no hierarchical standard through which you're rated. There is no, you're Stephen Curry, you're shooting 400 threes in one season. That is a statistical anomaly. You know, there's nothing like that. You look at one person, you're like, okay, that's great. Oh, look at the other person. Oh, okay, they're amazing too. And there's a wide range of appreciation. And some people are a bit more linear minded. They're trying to say like, oh, you got to win these many competitions, so and so and so and so and so. But truthfully, it's an art. You look at Picasso. You could look at Jeffrey Koons. You could look at Salvador Dali. And these are all different people. You couldn't say anyone which was better. Some are more lauded publicly and given accolades, but each person is their own thing, you know? So As Great As Me stands for my art, my performance, my existence will be as great as me, which is also another reminder, which is you have to perform as great as you can be and reach your own potential and have that extend out further out into the world. And I look at you, when I look at another artist, it's about how great they can be. So I am as great as me, and you are as great as you, as much as you can see for yourself. And the other acronym stands for All Give All More Enlightenment, which is pretty much just the philosophy through which we live with. If I talk to you, if you talk to me, this particular, even us having this conversation right now, Derek, is like, this is a form of enlightenment, you know, for us to find more answers, for us to further our lives, to build the different things that we're building. And we're all here to help each other, you know, whether or not the experiences are positive or negative, we learn.
That's deep. That's beautiful. It sounds like you're also a poet / philosopher as well.
Yeah.
Can you share us a little bit about that?
Yeah, man.
That's part of your title in some of the bios I've read.
Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, when I started dancing, I started emceeing at the same time. So it was like in middle school. And I actually have a funny story about that. That started with Laura. Laura was actually who started me off rapping. I came home one day and she was hanging out with her homies and they had like the karaoke mic on, right? So it wasn't like, you know, they were just messing around. Right. And they were just throwing some beats and kicking freestyles. And it was like the most hilarious thing because, you know, when Laura started rapping in, you know, it was like high school, she wasn't rapping about
that weed song, right? That weed song. I remember that weed song. Were you in the background?
Oh, yeah. I was pausing in the background. Yeah. But that was like, this is like 4 or 5 years previous to then. Like, she was not even in college yet. Okay. So you can imagine these are like fetal stages, infantile stages, right? She would be rapping like the funniest shit. Like, I remember because she would say things because, you know, it didn't really matter. It was non-consequential. It wasn't like she's trying to protect some brand. She'd be like, hey, yo, suck my dick. You know, and it'd be like, what? Oh. But it'd be funny because she's messing around with the homies and that's what they were talking about at that time. And I remember coming home one day and I just watched them and the guys left and I was like, hey, Laura, can I try that? She was like, yeah, sure. Gave me the mic, threw on some beats. And, you know, for that first couple years, I just really sucked, you know? You have to get through that period. You just suck. But yeah, from there, I mean, that's just one form of rhythm and poetry, right? Rap, rhythm and poetry. But before then, I was writing always. And as a artist, writing, speaking, presenting, performing has always been a huge part of my life. And poetry is something where you get to speak English to people, you know? As a dancer, I like to make people say, wow. I like to make people feel, especially with some of the stuff that I put out as of late, which is more emotional, a bit deeper. But when you speak body language, everyone can get it, but everyone gets their interpretation. But if I speak to you in English and I articulate myself and I enunciate and I speak, or I speak with some slang and some rhythm and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you bounce between the code switching that we have to do, such as Asian Americans, right? Code switch between phonics, proper English and such. It's like you get to connect with people on a real level because they can read your actual meaning behind it. And there's a legacy upon which, like a poetic legacy that you can build upon. So yeah, I've always been doing so throughout high school. Like I said, I was in a band, I was emceeing, making music with those guys. And then come around college when I started to get more into spoken word poetry and doing slams because I started to feel a bit constricted by the musical bars, right? Right. You have to deliver a rhyme like this. You have to give it like something you sis, you know, something like that. It's always in the same rhythmic structure, et cetera, et cetera. But with spoken word poetry, you can really like break things down, breathe into what you're saying, pause dramatically, and then get into your rhythmic sections, you know? So you always can like fluctuate with the rhythm. So I've been writing for a long time and yeah, now as of late, I'm actually going to be starting sharing more of what I wanted to do because I had a bit of living to do. And that's kind of the reason why I have been putting out some of the poetry, you know? There's actually a really great quote by Walt Whitman that stuck with me for a long time, right? And he said, how vain it is to sit down and write than when one has not even stood up to live, you know? So if you're like 20 years old and it's weird, you're looking at these rappers who are 20 years old and you're 20 years old and you think you know so much about the world and you're trying to rap about everything and everyone's going to know you and love you when you really don't know shit, you know? You're just a kid who has an idea about something and you're cocky. So I read that quote and, you know, I was just at a point in my life where I was like, I got to go out there and live and experience things. And I feel now 6-7 years later, this is around the good time to start coming back into it with a lot of my writing and putting that stuff out there.
Linda Webb just asked us a question.
Hey, Linda.
Have you tried making a poem in Khmer before?
I have, but my Khmer is not that strong. To be honest, like when I was a kid, I had the option of hanging out on my grandma with my yay, you know. But instead, I ran off to play Super Nintendo. And that was like the difference, you know. But I don't have that strong enough of a command of Khmer. When I was in Cambodia last year, though, we did do a song. I did do some of my verse in Khmer with the help of some of the guys who perform with Laura. But primarily, a lot of my stuff is English-oriented. It's English written, but oriented towards Khmer identity. So I guess it's in Khmer, but the language, not so much.
I see. Let's talk a little bit about Sok Khmer, about Cambodia, and your relationship with the country and with the arts scene there. When was your first time there. And what's some of your memories of your experiences with the country and with the people and the arts?
Yeah, I think it was 1999.
99, okay.
Yeah, and I was born in 89, so I was 10 years old, right? And I guess it's interesting to think back because this is like just post UNTAC period. You know what I mean? Like they just like finished up elections. So much power playing was happening around, and a lot of the country wasn't even developed yet. But I remember that being such a shock because, you know, as with any kid, going back to Khmer, like, well, I'll say this. This is a story that stuck out to me the most because I think even the imagery now is kind of crazy to think about how far we've come. I remember walking down the main moat pathway to Angkor Wat, right, as a kid, because of course, you know, they're bringing me back. We wanted to go see it. It was around evening time because I remember a sunset kind of lighting on the world at the place I was in. And I remember on that main walkway moat, which you and I know as like now flooded with tourists, European people, Koreans, Japanese people, flooding this place. Any time of day, 6 in the morning, 6 p.m. doesn't matter, just full of people. I remember being very sparse. I just remember seeing a number of amputee beggars on the side of that road, you know, right in front of the temple. And I remember having this like the hugest effect on me because, you know, my mom and dad, they came to this country and they worked hard. They were able to provide me and my sister a great life, you know? So for any kid with any semblance of privilege, which any kid in America is, going into Khmer, like it'll just break open your head, you know? And I remember just starting to question myself existentially, like, why am I here? Why am I so lucky? Why did all this happen? And it started to start off like all those like sets of questions. And it just kind of like flipped up my brain, and it set me off into a state of deep appreciation. And that's what kind of started to build my life forward, because everything became about gratitude, because there was a lot of survivor's guilt. And it's weird to talk about that as a non-PTSD survivor, but as a child of a PTSD, you know, survivor, my parents and my family and such, you're like, why am I so lucky? I have all my limbs. I can move. I'm in education. I'm in the United States. I have friends. I have nice weather around me. And it's just like, why is all this happening to me? What is my birth lottery? Like, is this all karma? This is all something that I earned in some past life, but I have no responsibility to now, or I have no semblance of ownership to now. And it's just the luck of my life. And that's what kind of, you know, as a kid at 10 did to me. And it really shook up everything I understood about the world, and definitely made me different than a lot of the kids in my elementary school. My whole life kind of switched up after that first trip. But since then, I've been back like 6 times.
Yeah. 6 times. And what's your observation of the arts in those 6 different visits, you know? Have you noticed anything changing? Traditional or modern arts? Like, what's great
is that, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s, from what I could see, is that there was no fight over progressivism versus traditionalism, right? Which is a constant struggle in any art. There's people who want to push the boundaries, people want to keep it to the core, right? From what I can understand at that time, there was nobody trying to push it further because there's so much impetus to preserve the art forms, because so much had been lost, you know, from all the death and the loss of artists and masters in the time. And only until recently have I really started to see, I guess, more people trying to push the boundaries of, you know, Khmer arts. But I remember as a kid stopping by and seeing shows, and even when like they did a tour, I think it was like the Royal Apsarat troupe. They came to Berkeley. We came and watched them. They actually stopped by our house for a bit. I think my mom knew the director, and it was funny. There was like a huge tour bus in our court. Like huge, and then like a bunch of like Apsarats came in and started hanging around our house.
The dream come true for anyone.
Yeah, I was just like,
angels knocking on your door.
Yeah, but in like Nike and Abercrombie and Fitch, because they obviously have been shopping in America, I guess. Yeah, and it was just like such a trip to see that, you know. But it was a really great. How would you say? Exposure as a kid, you know, to see that the arts are alive and well. But only till now, I actually haven't really started to notice people really pushing the boundaries with what we've created in the past and trying to bring things to the future.
I see. I do want to acknowledge someone that I felt was contributing in changing the people's perception of what is art and what is traditional Khmer art and what is modern Khmer arts. Because when I was living in Cambodia in 2005, I was an arts writer for the Phnom Penh Post, and nice. I noticed that there was a lot of critiques from the government in particular, and from traditional Cambodian artists with regards to traditional Apsara dancing, which you had mentioned earlier. Yeah. Nick Gru, Sopalin Chim Sapiro, who started and founded the Khmer Arts Academy. She has a base now in Cambodia as well. But she, along with Amrita Arts, created by Fred Fromberg, those two individuals, in my opinion, were one of the early pioneers in trying to push forward traditional Khmer arts, traditional Apsara Khmer arts into a different form. And of course, they've got some resistance.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's definitely you're definitely hitting the mark in observing that in light of the last 5-7 years, there's definitely more players and more artists that are really pushing the button, which I think is very healthy.
Absolutely.
For arts to sort of to grow. Linda just asked a follow-up question. She asked, Laura's career has made such a great impact on music in Cambodia. Do you hope to bring your dance skills back to Cambodia and do the same? Great question, Linda. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. I mean, I think this question is great for me because I get to explain a great deal about my personal identity in this, right?
Right.
When I saw my sister doing what she's been doing and helping her through it, I remember being with her at the beginning when she was just playing on her, acoustic guitar because I was the first audience. You know what I mean? If you think about it. What's been amazing to think about was just like watching it and seeing how her music has been perceived, absorbed, experienced by people, bridging gaps between young and old. And I think that all of that is absolutely amazing, and being there to help her with it, being a part of it, performing at shows, being in videos, all of that has been such a rewarding experience. And I'm super happy for everything that's happening with it. And obviously that makes you reflect on yourself. Like, what do you want? I look at myself like, hey, Andy, what do you want? What do you want to do? And the thing is that as much as I would love to have that subsume my identity and like uproot my life and go to Cambodia and build something out there in that sense, I don't feel like that's my path right now. I feel like having been so absorbed into and building my life and finding my masculinity and my identity through hip hop culture and my identity as an American person, I feel like right now my artistry and my message really applies a lot towards Cambodian Americans or Asian Americans or people out here because that's just how I feel in my heart, And if I were like deeply feeling in my heart to go to Suc Mai, then I would probably be there right now, because that option is there. But at the same time, what I am really enjoying about my time in LA right now and how I'm viewing my time in LA is that this is a skill building moment in my life, rather than going out to Suc Mai now with, I got dance skills and some basic, video editing and photography skills, things like that. Rather than going out there now and trying to build my skill sets out there now, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of spending a lot of time here in LA and building skills, becoming a better performer, doing acting, becoming a better videographer, editing, working on my workflow and being more familiar with the technology available to me to create great art. And then go to Suc Mai when I have the skill sets, when I have the ability to create a project in a cohesive way, rather than kind of like fumbling around and like messing up like, small things here and there. Because I really want to focus on where my heart is right now as a person to speak and not force it. And if I went back to Suc Mai and made that a big part of my life, which it definitely will be, do it in a few years when I have more skill sets under my belt, more confidence, and also a much more secure vision, But regardless, I'm going to go to Suc Mai in like about a month for my New Year, nice. And I'll be bringing what I do to the same, And right now, I just want to help Laura build what she's building, because she's building an empire. She's building a real movement and a message that's reaching out to people. And like, if anything, I would be in a better support role right now versus trying to force a career out there when I'm not even feeling like wanting to do so, you know?
Oh, well said. Well said. Andrew, how old are you right now?
27.
27. Awesome.
Yeah.
And, I'll definitely probably see you in Cambodia too. I'm
gonna be there?
I'm leaving first of the month.
Hey, it's like same timing, man. I'll see you out there.
Yeah, you're flying SFO probably, right?
LAX, I think. Yeah, no, I'll be stopping by Japan first to do a small event.
Okay.
It's not a small event. Doing an event in Japan and then teaching, and then going to Khmer, and then on the way back, stop by Japan and do another tour. Just do a dance workshop tour out there.
Sounds great. Sounds going to be productive. I hope you have some time to enjoy the New Year's and the festivities.
Oh yeah,
on the countryside, wherever your folks are from.
Yeah, I did a Songkran in Thailand before when I was living in Singapore. I lived in Singapore in 2011. I did Songkran in Bangkok.
Nice.
That was insane, you know, because then, you know, while it is a different culture, it also has a higher population density. So as it is as a water festival, it became like an 8 million person water fight with like all the super soakers that you could find. And I was like, holy, this is like one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. But now I want to bring it to Sukmai and, you know, do the same and enjoy that with our people, you know. It was just it would be a bit different. So I'm excited.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. No, Linda, feel free to ask as many questions as you want. You know, you're not the shy one. So if you like, I know you're at work right now, illegally watching this broadcast, but for those here that can join us on video, we'll open up the slot for people to come on video and ask a question directly if you wish. But I had another question, Andrew, regarding just your thoughts on Cambodia and the dance scene. Have you noticed any improvements or changes in with regards to the dancers in Cambodia? You know, paralleling, looking at the cheesy karaoke videos of the 80s and 90s, and then with KK and Tiny Toon's introduction of breakdancing in the scene. Can you share us what you've observed in the last 10, 15 years in urban street dancing in the country?
So of course, Tiny Toons, all those kids are amazing. Shout out to my boy Fresh. That guy's, you know, and Iraq. Yeah, they were inside the video with us in Ciclo. Actually, that video never came out in the United States. That's funny. But yeah, they're amazing, you know. And it's weird. It's funny because then I get to understand them through the legacy of b-boying, you know, first. The legacy of Khmer dancing comes secondary inside their identity because how I perceive them at least. Because I'm watching this outgrowth of hip hop culture around the world, touching every single country, every continent, small communities, big ones. Anybody with exposure with a phone can like start dancing like that, you know. Right. And to see where they've come and like the community that they've built, the NGO that they've built, and getting to hang out with KK and all the different people that have stopped by there, huge advancements. It's amazing. They're doing great things for people on Sukmai. And you know, I don't know, the dancing on an urban street level inside Cambodia has grown at the same rate as the internet. For instance, I remember working with a group called Super K, who are Laura's dancers inside Cambodia. And they were watching like Korean choreography videos. And then these Korean people were watching American choreography videos, you know? So it was kind of like a filter on a filter on a filter passed down through influence, as it is, as you do with any kind of internet kind of virality, right? And I've seen the advancement of urban street dance come about through that particular medium, specifically through internet, watching other people, because I don't think dance identity as an urban street dance is insular just so yet inside Cambodia, in the sense that they're not just watching themselves and learning from each other. They're probably watching outside because it's the internet. You have absolute freedom of information to like, you know, pull from if you have a good enough internet connection. So, I mean, I've seen it really evolve over the times. It's still getting there. Like a lot of it I see is like cheesy K-pop kind of background dancing sometimes. But you know, like the Tiny Toons guys, they're always killing it. I don't know if there exists another crew inside Cambodia. Like there's another like rival crew in Cambodia right now. But but I've only had the exposure to people in Phnom Penh, you know. And I always connect with them whenever I can when I get out there. But yeah, it's about how much I've seen out inside Cambodia.
I see. Yeah, there were a handful during the 3 years I was living in the country from 05 to 08. And in my observation, I think they're waning in popularity in terms of like, it's not as visible as it was before in terms of seeing them on CTN and seeing them on music videos. You know, I know Laura has been very supportive of breakdancing and urban street dancing, and always included them in their videos. But by and large, it's been tapering off in my view.
Yeah,
but definitely Tiny Toons is definitely still the pioneer and still the leader in the sort of nurturing that type of talent.
Yeah. I mean, it's different because this is one thing also that this is one thing that's also hard for me if I were to try and think about moving to Khmer, is that dancing out there exists as a performative aspect, but it doesn't exist in the same social context as the United States. Like, for instance, if I go to Philadelphia right now and I go on a Sunday, I could go find a club where I could find other people who dance like me and we can connect, and then we'll get a drink at the bar or we'll hang out. Or I could find a practice and connect with people like me. I could do that in New York. I could do it in Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Phoenix, Seattle, Denver. It doesn't matter. I could just go on Facebook and boom, you find a social event where it's happening. Whereas in Cambodia, that's not a big part of it. Like when you go to socialize out there, it's Khmer music, like you know, karaoke, like very chill Khmer music, especially at weddings. Or if you go in a club, it's like hardcore EDM and people just standing around drinking, which is kind of the same thing as LA sometimes. And just people just kind of like, and it's just so loud. There's no talking happening at all. People aren't like salsa dancing unless you're a foreigner out there. There's no like social aspect to it. So when there's no social glue holding together the dancing, it will begin to taper off, you know? And that's something I feel like I would really miss if I lived in Phnom Penh. And I do it for a month or two, but if I had like to go 2 or 3 years without a good hype cipher with people that are like better than me as a dancer, that would really, I don't know, it'd be really tough. I feel like it'd be really tough.
Well, you're not too far from all the other ASEAN nations and Korea and Japan, though. So,
I mean, I visited those places too, but it's like America has like the finest chocolate, you know, and everywhere else you go out, it's just not the same flavor, and you're like, gosh, damn, you know, it's tough. Even in like amazingly developed Asian countries like Japan and Korea, Taiwan, man, the dancing, the social aspect is very stale. Because it's like that, it doesn't have the same historical underpinning as an American dance would. When you go to like dance to house music in Chicago and New York, that is like the struggle of black, like older generations and younger generations being sweated out onto the dance floor, you know? And then this just a different understanding, and you feel like a different spiritual experience when you go to those places. So it's just different, man. It really is. And it's tough because you can't translate that. You can't be like, well, here's a pamphlet, read this, and you're going to get everything. It's like you have to like be there, you know?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Linda, with follow-up questions regarding our last question about Cambodia, I think. On your first trip to the country, what was your biggest culture shock?
Let's see. Well, I did mention seeing amputees on the motorway to Angkor Wat. That was like... I also remember being approached by little kids asking for money, and they were calling me Boo. This is like second time I went. I was 12, you know?
12,
But it was because I was so nourished with meat and milk in America that I had grown, you know? And there's a lot of malnourishment happening inside Cambodia. And they just called me Boo. And I was like, what? I was like, what? Why? I'm like, oh, you know? And it's just this huge difference of a physicality aspect, you know, and also their lives asking me for money when obviously I was just a kid walking with my parents, you know, that, and also for the first time sleeping on a wooden bed. That was like so weird to me because I was used to like mattresses, you know. I remember staying at my dad's house and it was just like my dad's family's house, and it was just sleeping on the floor or on a wooden bed, and it just being so damn hot. Yes, Linda, the mosquitoes, and just being there, like, this is not what I'm used to, you know? But after a while, I started to appreciate it more. Because a wooden bed is good for your back. As a dancer, you know, a flat bed is pretty good for you. Sometimes these plush beds are nice for some things and worse for others. But yeah, I'd say those things definitely hit me. Oh, also, this is a bit explicit, but we call it the Cambo combo. When you eat like bacteria infested foods like fruits out there and like the water, and then you get sick, and then it's going out this way, and then it's going out that way. You know, you're just like
the Cambo combo.
Cambo combo, man. It's just messed up. You're like,
yeah,
you're just struggling. You're like, you're in the bathroom for like 5 hours, just struggling and dying. You know, that hit me hard because then you don't get that inside the States. Even if you go to Europe, the food is sterilized to a point. In Japan, Korea, it's okay. But when you visit like Latin America, Southeast Asia, India, I haven't been to India yet, but I'm sure I've heard many stories there. You definitely will get that bacterial experience. And yeah, it's pretty messed up. Oh, Linda, yeah. The showers, dude. Especially when I first got there, it was just like the bucket and you just like hit you with the cold water. Man, but you appreciate it though, because then I remember the first time we went, it was summer. So like our summer. Yeah. So it was hot. It was like destructively hot. Yeah. And just dying. So that cold water in like huge dashes of just versus like a cold steady stream, it was so amazing. It blew my mind. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Now you're a pro, Andrew. You've been there 6 times. You're going there again in a month. So all this is like it's all you're all used to it now. By now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna we're at the 43rd minute mark of the interview. I'm gonna let the room open up for about a couple of minutes. If anybody wants to step in and on video and wants to ask a question directly, I'll allow that for the next few minutes. While we transition to some content, some questions back in the States, I knew a lot of our watchers would be curious about your experiences in Cambodia. But I wanted to move to the present a little bit and ask you what are some of the current projects or something that we should be looking forward to seeing more of you, either as a dancer or then I guess you act as well and do spoken word and poetry. Can you share us a little bit of projects that you're working on?
Yeah. Well, you know, now what's great about right now is that this is my exploratory phase. You know, I just got to LA, so I get to try different things. I did acting in the past, but now I'm going to take an acting like intensive out here and begin to start placing myself inside that fold again, you know, because it's just another discipline as a performer. As I've spent 14 years in dancing, there are people who spent 14 years in acting. So I wouldn't want to like disrespect the form, you know? But yes, definitely this year would be me putting my voice back out into the world. I feel like I've been able to live and collect some more stories from traveling around and seeing different aspects of the world and sharing my voice out again. Music is on the horizon, you know, but I don't know.
You as a rapper?
Yeah, but you know, it's weird. Being an Asian rapper is really weird. You know what I mean? That's a weird identity choice. Like, I'm an Asian rapper, you know, like, particularly because I wouldn't be telling the same stories that fit into the street narrative of America, you know? I find myself to be more akin to Childish Gambino than I do Future. You know what I mean? Like, there's an artistic aspect to it, but I'm not going to tell you about something I didn't live. I didn't live, you know, super rough life and something like that, and selling drugs and thugging out and watching homies get killed. And, you know, while I have unique small experiences similar to that, it's not the life I lived. And I wouldn't want to infringe on that part of the American identity. Not like it's a place for me to be in or be in out. It's just not my life, you know? But even still, rapping is a communicative medium, as is acting, as is dancing, as is poetry, and everything kind of extends out from there. So for me, this year will be about putting out projects, saying something, and really tapping into that sense of my identity, you know? Because dancing took me far for a while, and even now as a professional dancer out here, like, I'll tell you this, my dream is not to be Rihanna's backup dancer. I don't really care about that. That's not, I meet a lot of people here like, I just want to go on tour and be with J-Lo or some shit like that, you know? Like, that doesn't appeal to me. Like, I want to hone in on my artistic voice and have that be able to help people and share. Because I think a lot of artists question how they bring value to the world, you know? I would love to be like Elon Musk, you know, and fucking start electric cars and solar companies and space exploration and use my capabilities as a technological forward-thinking innovator to benefit many people. But instead, I've chosen a life as an artist, you know, and your impact on people is very intangible if it's, well, at least intangible unless you're in there in person, talking to people, connecting with them as a human. But now in our internet age, you have the ability to reach out and place your art into the world and have it be shared and have it connect with multiple people. So now that's what you guys will be seeing from me this year. I'll be doing a lot of projects and a lot of stuff that I think I would be afraid to release normally, being more vulnerable as an artist and being more forward with it. Can't say it yet. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but you'll definitely be seeing a lot more from me. Yeah.
We usually ask this of our interviews, especially the artists that have came before. Is it possible to hear one of your older performances?
Oh, dude.
Either a 15-second or a 30-second, whatever you want to feel like sharing.
Yeah. Let me, let's see.
We're getting a free show, guys and gals. So
I should have thought of this.
This is very impromptu. I should have given you a heads up. We've had someone like dance for us in the past. We asked her, but she got shy and she sent us a video. Aaliyah there from Fresno, Stockton area. If you have anything available, that would be great.
Yeah. Let me try and find it.
I see people are kind of shy to step in the open seat. And don't be shy. If you have questions or comments, we'd love to see your pretty face and you'll be recorded as well, though. Know that if you do step in, you'll be recorded in the final product.
Let me see.
Selena, Peanut, are you around? I know you're in the room. Do you have any questions for Andrew?
What's up, Peanut? How you doing, girl?
She's our future. She's also being confirmed for our future broadcasts in about a week or two. Gonna get her and another sort of music analyst, guru there in Cambodia. So I think she's shy right now to step in. Oh, someone's coming in. All right, great. Oh, Peanut's coming in.
All right, cool.
Let's see if it works.
Hi.
Hey. What up?
Who are you? What do you want to say?
Oh yeah. I'm Art, and I just wanted to know, because I came in late, so I don't know what you've already talked about. But if you plan to be in Cambodia anytime soon.
Oh, am I planning to be there anytime soon? Yeah, I'll be there in a month. Yeah, for
going back without me.
Oh yeah, I know. Sorry. There was a group text, but you just didn't answer back. I guess it just didn't work out. I'm sorry.
No, you're going back. Derek's going back. Cindy already left.
Cindy's already there. Yep. My mom's there too.
Yep.
So gonna corral the whole group.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my ticket done too. I'm gonna go back too.
Yeah.
Do it, Amanda.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the plan for sure.
Nice. That's exciting. I want to go back. I really want to see Laura's lounge.
Oh yeah, the sushi bar. Yeah.
I'll make sure to snap a few when we're there. We already confirmed to eat there as a group, nice. with the organization and co-leading. But have you been there yet? You haven't been there yet, Andrew?
Me? No, not yet. It's haven't had enough time to go out there. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, another person wants to step in.
Cool.
Human animal love. All right. We'll let everybody come in. Hi.
How you guys doing?
What's your name?
Hey, what up?
Where are you calling from?
Lewis. I'm actually calling out of San Francisco, California.
Oh, nice. What up, man?
I just tuned in right now, so I'm not really sure what I noticed a topic. It says dancer and performer, and I actually use this platform to recruit talented people on here for my company that my friend and I just started. Are you guys like in the industry, or what's this all about?
For those that's on live right now, can you press the mute? Sometimes there's interference. I think some people are having trouble hearing. But to answer your question, I represent Khmerican, a news platform on the Cambodian diaspora, and we've been using this Blab service just to spotlight the amazing work of the individuals that's being invited to share their story. And Andrews just happens to be one of the many people that we're honored to have share his story. But that's who we are. And Andrew, you can share a little bit about who you represent, which we asked earlier. But yeah.
I don't mean to come in here and hijack or derail the conversation.
Not a problem.
I have something to share, but I'll be more than happy to just hang back and let Andrew finish his story, and then I can tell you guys a little bit about what we do. But like I said, I don't want to hijack or derail. So I mean, please continue.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I didn't hear what he said. It kind of started breaking up to me, so I just kind of lost part of where the conversation was going.
I see. I think he just wanted to understand. Well, he apologized for coming in and hijacking the conversation a little bit. But he wants to, I guess he's a scout talent or affiliated with an agency that is looking for dancers.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So he saw the title of this conversation. He was curious to learn more about you. But nice. You can also drop the questions on the message and below. We can all read it and see it as well. Any final thoughts, Amanda, before we boot you?
Let me see. I was gonna answer somebody's
Any questions?
Question, girl, to the real freaks.
What's that?
Oh, somebody asked a question. And yes, I do B-girl, but I'm not really a B-girl. I freestyle a lot. So that's more of what I do. Yeah.
Great. And for those who's curious about our third guest right now, our second guest, Peanut, she'll be on a future broadcast on Khmerican next week. Amanda, did we confirm it yet?
Next week. Yes.
Sometime next week, right? So just follow us, and you'll see the details once we finalize it. Bye, Amanda.
Yeah.
See you soon. Right. I need to pick up my phone at your mom's house.
Nice.
Yeah. Bye. I hung out with Amanda like a week ago, and
nice.
My clumsy butt forgot to leave. I left my second cell phone in her car.
And second cell phone. Damn. You got a burner cell phone, like on some Walter White shit, or what?
No. Well, I own two phones because of company and personal, but I left the personal one in the car, and I was in Portland all week with family, and they're here in Seattle, and so I think I just got back to Seattle like yesterday. So
cool. Yeah, go get that.
Yeah, Andrew, share us. In conclusion, share us. How can we follow you? What are your social media channels that people can just follow up and stalk on you and your work?
Yeah. So if you guys see my video screen, you'll see that my Twitter handle is @AGameTheLight. That's the same everywhere. It's on Instagram, my Facebook page, and my Twitter as well. So you can find me mostly there as well. It's AGameTheGlitch on Snapchat, but you don't gotta follow me there. That's whatever. I'm just doing stupid shit on that. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Just follow me on those three, because then I try to keep it to 3 social media outlets, because I think, any more than that right now is too much for one person to handle, especially when you have a life. It's a bit hard to do 6, 7, 8, 9 different social media channels. But yeah, you guys can find me there and follow along, and you'll definitely see a bigger project come out in the next few weeks. And hopefully, I'll be able to release some things to Khmerican in the future, connect with the community, and just continue to push the boundaries for all of us Cambodian people out there.
Any final thoughts on your supporters, your fans, people who are artists in their stages of their life? Any advice or feedback or anything you want to share?
Yeah. I was just thinking about this because I'm just going through the struggle right now as an artist in LA, as you do. And I just had to say it just because this is kind of like what I've told other people, what I've heard, and what I've told myself, is that, when you look at our community, well, I guess as a pan-Asian identity, there are plenty of engineers, scientists, lawyers, doctors that work into that fold and begin to have like very like stable careers and such. And it's great, you know, it's like bringing about the empowerment of the community in different ways. I know it's a very different thing for Cambodian Americans as well, but I think what's really critical as an artist inside the Asian American identity and as a Cambodian American identity is that if you're feeling something and you need to share it and you want to perfect your craft and continue to push for it, I would really suggest you do it, because we need more artists, you know, especially as Asian Americans. We need people to help us synthesize our experience out here in America as first generation, because we don't have the musical legacy of James Brown or Sly and the Family Stone, all the way through Michael Jackson, all the way through, and he's not my favorite, to like Chris Brown, people like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, who helped the African-American group synthesize their experience of the current moment. We need to do that for ourselves. And while we are a niche community, a niche market, a niche group, and there's not much money out there for it, people still need to hear it, you know? So if you have something to say, doesn't matter if it's 200 views, 500, 2,000 to a million, and you blow up, who cares? You need to say it for your community, please go out and say it. And that's what I'm pretty much trying to do. Just trying to put out the right message for me that I think people will connect with.
Beautiful, Andrew, beautiful. We're gonna go off the record now and end the conversation. Thank you, Andrew, for your time. Thank you for sharing your story with our community.
Yep.
And we hope to continue following your work. We hope to get updated of your work so we can share it to our readers. And we look forward to interviewing you, again in the future. So
yeah, thank
Seattle,
you, man.
And from the whole Team Khmerkin, we want to thank you and wish you the best in all your endeavors.
Great, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, and keep doing the good work.
Thank you. Peace out, everybody. And for those who want to watch this in its entirety, it's being uploaded on Khmerkin's YouTube and on Blab as we speak. Good night, everyone, from Seattle.
All right, you guys. Peace.